Hi guys, and welcome to another video. So for this video I thought I would share my mental health story, as it is Mental Health Awareness Week, sharing all of the details from when my issues first began to where I'm at now, and hoping that it will provide some sort of value to you if you are struggling yourself, to show you that it's okay not to be okay and that things do get better. So let's get to it. So my issues really began when I was in year 10, so when I was about 14. This is when I started to experience very low mood and lots of self-doubt and self-negativity. Now originally I didn't think I had a problem. I thought this was all just down to teenage hormones, down to the teenage experience of having a bit of identity crises and falling out with your mates. I thought it was all down to that. But looking back now, it really wasn't. It was so much more than that. I started to turn to binge eating to compensate for my feelings, and so I'd buy like packs of biscuits and cakes and just sit and eat them to myself on a night when no one was around, and I'd use that as a way of dealing with how I was feeling, the self-hate I had towards myself, the negativity, the anxieties. And I thought this was normal. I thought this was just what people do. Teenagers eat a lot, so it's normal. I didn't think it was a problem. It's when the emotions started to get quite overwhelming that I realised that maybe it was a bit more serious than I thought. So there was this consistency in negative emotions that persisted for a good year now, and they started to get quite overwhelming, and I didn't know how to deal with them. When I say overwhelming, what I'm referring to is this feeling of extreme anger and extreme hatred towards I can't explain it. Just imagine a situation where you're extremely angry about something. Imagine that being self-directed. How do you get rid of that? How do you, get rid of it? And this is when I first started to turn to self-harm behaviours. And to this day, I still have my scars from that on my wrists and my legs. And yeah, looking back, I just wish I found a better way of dealing with it. And I didn't. That was, at the time, it was quite a big thing in the media. So I thought that was, the more normal way of dealing with it. It's not normal. I just thought that was what I should do. And that's what you should do when you've got emotions like that. So that's what I did. And yeah, it got worse as well. It just kept escalating. I got to a point where I didn't want to be around anymore. I did contemplate suicide. I remember this one time when I sat on a park bench just before school and just sat and just stared into the open space and I just didn't want to be around anymore. But I remember getting up and going into school that day and just getting on with it. So this problem persisted, and when I'd finished year 11, I joined up a gym because I had nothing better to do with my summer because I couldn't get a job. And I was still feeling pretty low in myself. And I was pretty chubby, I'm not going to lie. But I didn't have any self-hate towards how I was looking at all. I was alright with it. And I joined the gym, and I was about 10.5 stone, and I thought, yeah, I should probably shift a little bit of chub, really. So I did, and as soon as I started, that became obsessive. And these really intense negative emotions started to fade away a bit, because I started to fixate on the weight loss, and I believe that was the catalyst for my eating disorder, because my attention shifted from self-hatred towards this fixation on food and my weight and how I was looking. I became very obsessed very fast, and things got worse when I had a dance show coming up, because I was in a dance class with lots of very thin girls. And I felt huge compared to them. I didn't want to get up on stage looking like an elephant next to all of them. That's how I felt. So that's when I started to really restrict. I wasn't just dieting anymore, I was skipping meals. I was self-induced vomiting, over-exercising, lots of things like that. And then from there it just kept getting worse. So I cut out food groups, I cut out meat. I was eating maybe one meal a day, really, maybe two very, very small meals a day. I was exercising so much, I'd constantly just get up and walk. I'd, just walk around. I'd try and just move, do sit-ups in my room when no one was around, just getting that expenditure out. And it got to about February time, and yeah, I was alright. I was like, yeah, I look pretty good. I'm now no longer a size 12, I'm a size 6. You know, I've got a nice flat stomach, I can start to see bones protruding. I'm happy with this is alright. But the behaviour still continued. I was still being very excessive with my exercise. I would just, if I was going somewhere, if I was meeting someone at 4 o'clock, I'd get to the place at 2 o'clock and walk for 2 hours. I would be so food focused, I'd just be spending my free time looking at menus and watching food programmes and documentaries. I still felt fat though. I thought, yeah, I've got to a decent point, but I'm not where I want to be. I want to keep losing more and more weight. And this was at this point when I became very obsessed with the scales. They dictated my life. If I woke up and that scale hadn't gone down, I'd be extremely, extremely low in mood that day. And I would do whatever it took to get that number down for the next day. Whatever it took. It was obsessive. I'd do it multiple times a day. That's how obsessed I was. The scale was my life. And it's when it got to my brother's birthday meal that I'd spent days looking at the menu in advance, and I picked something out that I even Googled all the calories for all these meals, and this was the best option for something that I kind of like. And I got there and tried to eat it, and I couldn't because it was disgusting. It was just bleh. So my dad said, well, have a bit of my pizza. And I scraped everything off it, so I just ate a base. And I was cutting it into the most tiny pieces, forcing it down. And then I got home and I didn't want to eat anything else, and that's when my family realised I had a serious problem. So they took me to the doctors, and they referred me to, they suggested we get seen to a mental health service, and we had to push. The mental health provisions in this country are crap. We had to push for, I think my dad was on the phone every day to them saying my daughter needs to be seen. And they were just saying, oh, there's a waiting list. But he was like, she can't wait. She's losing weight dramatically. If she keeps losing weight, she's not going to be around for the time you're saying you've got appointments. So eventually I got seen, and I worked with a counsellor, a psychologist, a clinical psychologist, who helped me work through my problem. What I want to really flag up was that when I was seeing this counsellor, I didn't want to get better. Even though I knew I was ill, I was fainting quite a bit from being so weak, I didn't want to get up and walk from A to B, and I mean literally walking from one classroom to the next, because I found that so tiring. I didn't ever want to take my coat off because I was constantly freezing, and I mean freezing. I just felt crap, my hair was so limp and just disgusting, my skin was disgusting, everything was just not good. I wasn't healthy, but I didn't want to get better. I just wanted to lose weight, that's all I cared about. And so when I was in this process of recovery, it was a horrible time for my family, and I can't credit them enough for their consistency and how well they dealt with it. They looked up all of the symptoms, read all the self-help books, they did everything they could to get me better. And what's being described to me by them is that when they lived with me, they lived with 2 people. When I had my eating disorder, when I had anorexia, I was 2 people. I was Lucy, just normal me, but then I was this psychotic demon that came out when it was, talking about meals and things like that. And I do remember it, I do remember being like that, but I can't imagine what it's like to be on the reciprocal side of it. I would literally collapse on the floor, screaming, crying, rocking back and forward. I was hearing voices. I had this voice in my head that was telling me things like, don't eat that, you're fat, you're this, you're that, the other. And I can still hear what that voice sounds like, and it haunts me to this day. Yeah, these things aren't really discussed. What it's like living with someone with an eating disorder, or just any sort of mental health problem. You are living with another person, and I think my family found that really hard. I know my family found that hard. My mum told me one of my siblings, I can't remember who, was scared of me. They didn't want to be around me. I remember my little sister saying to me once, just eat more, Lucy, and it'll be better. I miss you. I wasn't the same person anymore. And that was heartbreaking to hear, but I still just didn't want it. I just wanted to keep losing weight. That's all I wanted to do. It got really tough in my family, so it was mutually decided that I was going to go live with my nana for quite a bit, because she had more time, there wasn't other kids around, and she could focus and really help me. And I honestly think that was the best thing I did. well, originally I was sort of forced into it. I didn't want to go. I felt like I was being sent away for being something, doing something bad. But it was her consistency in her approach to how she got me to where I am now is amazing. I can't fault her. She was so kind and understanding, but at the same time firm. She just didn't put up with any of my crap. She did not let that voice inside my head win. She would beat it. And to this day, I believe that I got to where I am now because of her, 100%. And she got to see me get to a good place, which was good. So by summer, the following summer, I was in a good place. I was at a healthy weight. I wasn't really food focused anymore. I was allowed to go back and exercise because that was something that I had to stop because I was just so ill, which made me really happy because I loved being back at dance with everyone. Yeah, things were good. Things started to really... It was when my nana passed away that things then took another turn. She died as I was going on holiday. I was just meant to go on a girls' holiday with my friends. We were 17, 18 at the time, we just finished school. It was meant to be great. And she got septicemia very quickly, very fastly, and died. And for me, it took such a long time to internally process that. Like, I didn't just, process it, get really upset, and then sort of deal with it. I feel like it took months and months and months for it to really sink in. And because of this, I turned back to, bad behaviours as a way of fixating on how I was feeling. Because the negative feelings started to come back because I feel like this catalysed that. So I turned back to binging. I was overeating massively. Like, I don't know how much I was eating, but I reckon on some days I was well easily eating a good 6,000 calories at least. And I was drinking and not really caring about my behaviour when I was drinking. I was overworking myself. Like, I was working like 5 or 6 days a week till late, not really sleeping. I just didn't care. And again, I was becoming very unhealthy. And it was when Mum sort of flagged up, you've put on a bit of weight, It happens when you go to uni, don't worry about it. And then I did start to worry about it. I jumped back on the scales for the first time in God knows how long because I hated it. When I was in recovery and I could see that number going up, I just stopped myself. I didn't want to look at the scale because I knew it would be triggering for me. But I did it. I thought, well, have I really put on that much weight? And I had. It was the heaviest I've ever been. It was well over 11 stone. And I was like, oh my God, I need to do something about this. And then I started to realise that my behaviours were not great. I was overeating. I wasn't really exercising anymore because I'd gone from being really active to not really active at all. I probably was overworking myself a bit. So I sort of tapered down the working, and I'd finished then for summer. I finished university. This was in my first year of university. I finished for summer. So I knew, well, I can work these days now because I don't have to worry about uni work. And I'd tried to diet and lose weight doing principles such as Slimming World, which just didn't work for me. And I thought, I need help with this. So I looked to PTs in my gym, which I've talked about in my previous video. I went with Becca because I knew that she knew what she was on about because she had, good reputation. But also that if I was worried about if I started to diet, I wouldn't be able to stop, like last time. Because that's what happened last time. I started a diet and it all just went from there. And I knew because she'd suffered with anorexia herself, she'd understand, these sort of behaviours and understand what was going through my mind if I felt like this. So I thought she'd probably be the best person that I could find to work with. And yeah, I'm so glad I did. Because as I got more and more into my training with her, I stopped binging. Like when I first started, yes, I was still binging. I was going to the gym, doing the weight training, but I was still eating a hell of a lot of food. I was eating the good stuff she was telling me to eat, but then going and eating a hell of a lot of crap because I was still feeling low in myself. But then I started to use the gym as my way of coping. And the binging just sort of fizzled out. It just stopped. And the gym was my way of coping. And I loved it, and it was becoming good. People could see, oh, this is doing good for you. But then I started to have issues again. Earlier this year, I was becoming so obsessed with going to the gym. I had to be going 4 to 5 days a week. Even if I was too tired, I'd be like, no, I'm going. I can't have more than 2 or 3 rest days a week. God forbid. I wasn't eating enough. Like, I'd got quite lean. And I still thought I was huge because I do suffer with really bad body dysmorphia. So even though I got down to a really nice, I was wearing like size small and stuff. I've never worn size small since, the anorexia days. But I still thought I was huge. And I remember Becca saying to me like, oh, oh my God, you're not eating I wasn't eating carbs post-workout, I was just eating salads and I wasn't really eating. She's like, oh my God, you need to start increasing your food. And I was like, whoa, do I? Do I really? And I was obsessed with cardio. I would do my weight training and then be doing lots of cardio as well. And again, she spotted straight away that it was obsessive behaviours, and it was all turning back to these sort of negative behaviours. And I stopped. And now I'm in a place where I'm increasing my food, but I'm not doing it through binging. I'm doing it controlled and in a positive way. I'm doing it to fuel my body, to give me the energy to lift, to get bigger, to get stronger. It's no longer negative. It's no longer a negative thing. And where am I at now in terms of my mental health? Well, do I still struggle with anxiety and depression? Yes, I'm on medication for it, but that's okay. I have tough days, but I have good days. Like, the good days are getting more and more frequent now because I know what makes me happy. I know that going to the gym makes me happy, but I also know that just treasuring the small things in life, such as being with loved ones and having quality time with friends and just little things like going to the cinema and all sorts of really small things, can just make you so happy. But it's your mindset. You've got to really appreciate the small things in life, and then life starts becoming amazing. And that's what's making me happy. Do I still struggle with food? Yes. God, yes. Some days I just don't want to eat the food at all. Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm going to be able to stop eating. But that's okay, because I talk about it. I talk to people about it. And I'm getting better for it. And I'm working through my negative emotions. And my relationship is becoming so much better with food. And yes, I still struggle with body image issues. I still look at myself some days and think, Jesus Christ, I'm huge. I just need to lose weight. But again, that's okay. Because I know it's all in my head now. I'm in a place where I know things are irrational. I look to objective sources. I ask other people. I look at my clothing measurements and use those as a way to counter the negative thinking and be like, yeah, what you're thinking is wrong. That voice inside your head, she's still there and she's still chatting absolute shit. Because you're okay. You're perfect the way you are, Luce. And yeah, that's it really. So thanks for watching. If you've watched up until now, like, that's amazing. What I'm going to do is link my Just Giving page to Beat, which is an eating disorder charity, below. So if you can donate anything to them, that would be incredible. They really helped me and my family during my mental health journey. Also, if you want to donate anything to Mental Health Muscle, which is a charity that I'm also supporting now, I will put the link down there below. Again, amazing charity, just up and coming. Two things I'm very passionate about, exercise and mental health, how they interact and they can really benefit one another. And I just want to say as well, like, guys, whether you're struggling with something, some form of mental health problem, or maybe you're just feeling a bit under the weather, because we all do, always look for ways to improve your mental health. Always. Think, every single one of you now, think, what can I do? Think of one thing I can do to improve it. Google it, YouTube, just think about it. There's so many suggestions out there and they're really good, like going for walks, meditation, taking lovely long baths with lush bath bombs. Just little things in life, and they can make you feel better. And think about your mindset to life. I've changed mine and I'm changing mine, and I'm becoming so much more of a positive person, and it's making me happier as a result. So guys, just think about it and let me know of any suggestions you've got for how you can improve your mental health and what you're doing about it. And again, if you've got any questions about my journey, or you want to ask me anything, just message me on Facebook, my Insta, lucycookefit, or in the comments below, and I'd love to hear back from you guys. So thanks for watching and have a great day.